Hi everyone, welcome. We're down here in my wormery, and the bins that we're checking in on today are red wigglers in service now for 213 days. 2 weeks ago when we last checked it on, these little guys, they were just 1 day shy of their 200th day in service. I think at that time we sort of preemptively congratulated them on their milestone. that would have been feeding 17. And today's feeding is going to be feeding 18. We got a couple of our little friends hanging out here on the plastic. Let's just drape that over. This way it won't get too dry too quickly for them. Here too, I can see a couple of these little guys, so we'll just set them up like so until we can get the systems fed and return to having them covered up. Well, looks like anything that we might have had as far as top covering papers out here are all but shredded into little tiny pieces. Oh, right here was that little section that we didn't manage to unfold. So it remains a little bit of extra durable material that was laid out here. All the rest of this was all unfolded to make it all into a single sheet, and it was kind of wrinkled up a little bit, but it was all made to be underneath the plastic covers, so that it would make all the material nice and damp from the recirculating moisture. And I think we even predicted that for the most part this stuff would be shredded by the next time we came back in here. Alright, so I didn't really see any signs of anything resembling feeding zone indicators, but I think when there's nothing to show where to look for the last feeding, we could just assume it was applied down the center of the system. Alright, it's stem of a banana. So I'm not really trying on purpose here to go slow in terms of excavating. I'm not really looking for anything per se. This is a seed from a maple. One of those things that twirls when it falls to the ground. Would have come in with the leaves as part of their bedding. Here's a little chunk of corn cob. So yeah, I've got an assortment of stuff for them here. I took a banana, a frozen banana, and just chopped it into these little delicious rings for them. And there's a whole bunch of orange peel in here, and there's some breadcrumbs. These little chunks didn't make it into the pre-soak treatment that I'm giving the somewhat larger pieces that are down in here. So that's pretty much their feeding. And I did kind of question what I would want to do in here as far as bedding goes. Oh, looks like we're even hitting some of the bedding that we opted for last time, which was just some leafy matter dropped in below the foods that they were getting. And I think the foods were just sort of an assortment of different frozen veggie scraps of this and that. So it's not the sort of thing that you would really expect to see many leftovers of, and I don't really think I see much in the form of leftovers. Let's excavate bin number 2. See what we see. More of the same. A little bit of leftover bedding from last time. I guess what I was fishing for there was just an excuse to maybe withhold the application of bedding on this go around. I mean, I did plan on coming in with replacement top covering newspaper material, which I've got on the ready here too, in addition to the foods we've got for them. So in a way you can consider that top paper as perhaps not so much as a bedding material for them to inhabit, but more as a material made of what you would normally use as bedding, kind of like almost like a leafy material. Well, this is bedding too, I suppose, right? Each system's going to get half of a soiled napkin, but yeah, pretty skimpy on bedding as far as what's being applied down here along with the feedings. But I mean, here we go. Here's a nice bit of leftover bedding in the form of what was the top covering newspaper, and here's some leftover bits of food from previous check-ins. There's that corn cob bit, or maybe another one. But let's divvy out these yummy morsels for them. Did we split it up evenly? Seems that way. I did find a label on one of the pieces of orange. I was wondering if I might be placing a label in here, because I think this is more than just one orange, so whatever, maybe something to keep an eye out for. Or maybe there was none to find anyway. So alright, a little bit of grit, very little bedding, hardly no bedding. And then in can come the last of what we intended for them, in the form of what had, I guess, turned into toast already. Someone took the time to actually toast this bread before abandoning it. And that's their feeding. So there's a good bit of material here on the outer edges that we've not yet checked out. So let's grab some from there to bring into the middle and cover up the feeding zone. Gives a little glimpse into how things look out here. Lots of castings material piling up. You know, the leafy matter that was placed below the feeding last time, that was showing up here as we excavated the feeding zone. Same stuff was just scattered out as sort of a top dressing in these systems too. Nice little top coating of leafy matter. There wasn't a whole lot of it visible to me when we first arrived, I don't think. So I guess that's part of the reason I wanted to just come in here with some sort of a top covering. So those couple pieces of newspaper are going to do just that. We don't even have feeding zone indicators. So at least we've got something. All right. Oh, very nice. Looks like I found a few more chunks of this old top covering newspaper that got shredded by the worms. Try to get that over there somewhere under the surface. Alright. And little bits of leftover food and this and that everywhere. I really like the moisture content. I mean, it almost seems to me like it might even be more than we would want because of the way it's sticking all over my gloves. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but sometimes I like to see things a little bit drier. I don't know. Not everyone agrees. A lot of people do believe that my systems are perhaps a little drier than they need to be. Well, perhaps not in this case. At least not by my measure. Things do seem a little bit damp and sticky and moist. But I'm not going to interfere with that. I bet you the worms love it. Probably also helps with keeping the system nice and active and productive. But at over 200 days of age, I think I do need to start thinking about winding up with a really nice, clean, debris-free batch of castings that I can harvest. So I will be wanting to be careful what sort of stuff I place into these systems. Don't want to use a lot of, slow composting stuff like leaves and the stems and the leaves, stuff like that. So going forward, we might just be using kind of easy to eat paper products as bedding here. But that's it for the check-in, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye now.